So this is just a tiny, not even an update. I just wanted to actually talk about some of the really great tips that I've picked up from watching a lot of videos, which I didn't know at the beginning when I started my journey, and I've picked it up as I've gone, and I'm thinking these are the things that I wish I knew at the beginning of my EndMyopia journey. So I thought I'd just summarize them for you. Tip 1 is get the anti-glare coating on your glasses. Don't skip on the anti-glare coating because, as Jake says, it's just extra effort for your eyes that you don't need to be putting them through. The next thing is not to swap to your new pair of normalized glasses during the course of a day. Do a diopter reset. So when you get up in the morning, fresh day, you've got your new normalized, don't put them on yet. Spend as much time as you can that morning not wearing any glasses at all until it's like driving you absolutely around the bend, just the struggle to see. And then when you can't take it anymore, put on your new lower normalized glasses and you will be so excited with how well you can see with them, and it just stops you from dropping a quarter of a diopter and thinking, oh, this is awful, much blurrier than before, and just getting into that kind of mindset funk of these glasses aren't as good as my last ones. It helps you to really love and appreciate what this new pair of glasses is doing for you. If you need to equalize, so make monocular drops, just change the prescription in one eye and not the other at some point. Jake recommends having a couple of binocular drops first, where you lower the prescription in both eyes, and then starting your monocular drops. But don't do more than one monocular drop in a row is the advice. So I've done binocular drop, monocular drop, and my next prescription is another binocular drop and then another monocular drop before they're equalized. So for the monocular drops, don't do two in a row, intersperse them with binocular drops and have a couple of binocular drops before you start getting into the monocular drops and equalizing. Another thing about equalizing is it's best to do it before the last diopter, because that last diopter is kind of a different process anyway. The whole process slows down and it's a lot more effort, especially if one of your eyes can see fine. It's possible, and maybe even likely in fact, that the eye that's got a quarter or half diopter of blurriness just won't bother clearing that up, and so that will be a harder process. So try and equalize before you get to your final diopter. Even though I didn't know this at the beginning, I didn't go ahead and order my glasses all the way until the end of my journey or anything, so I didn't actually make any big mistakes with that, but I did a lot of making lists and plans and graphs about what prescriptions I would need all the way back to 2020, and I had to do them again. Only have 2 prescriptions maximum at a time, maybe 3. So you'll have your differentials and you'll have your normalized, and you might need a third pair, which is a higher prescription again for things like night driving, where things are just a little bit blurrier. Obviously, don't drive with lowered vision where you have difficulty seeing. You need to be safe primarily. As much as you want great vision, don't prioritize this process over your life and the lives of those around you on the road. When you're first starting out, start with your differentials. So order a pair of glasses about a diopter and a half below your normal prescription and get used to them for up close work like computer work and things like that. And then once you've had them for 6 weeks for your eyes to adjust, then introduce another focal plane change when you bring in your first set of normalized. Jake recommends that you have 6 weeks minimum between focal changes. So once you've got your differentials, wait 6 weeks before you get your normalized. Once you've got your normalized, wait at least another 6 weeks before you drop your differentials. So you stagger them. Overall, the time between drops in your normalized should be about 3 to 4 months minimum. And ditto for your differentials, 3 to 4 months minimum. But yeah, so you stagger the changes, starting with your differentials, which by the way, I did not do. So when it comes to differentials and normalized, you want one prescription that is challenging, so it gives you some blur challenge, and one prescription that is comfortable, so that your eyes and your visual cortex remembers what clarity looks like. If you're getting challenged in both your normalized and differentials, you might get used to the blur and your brain might stop trying to clear it up. In a lot of the ENDMYOPIA forums and YouTube videos, this is sometimes referred to as blur adaptation, but that is different from clinical blur adaptation. So it's really probably more accurately referred to as blur tolerance or blur habituation or blur normalization. I don't know, something like this. And it's always better to stay on a prescription longer rather than race ahead and then have to reverse the process later and start from a higher diopters again, because that's just discouraging. May as well give your eyes all the time you need. Like if you're used to your eyesight deteriorating, even just stopping it in its tracks is huge progress. And if you start to increase your centimeters, considering what we've been taught from the optometry industry, that's practically a miracle. So there's no need to race, like just really appreciate every single gain and win, as slow as it might be. Because this whole journey and discovering that you have some power to fix these things, that's like where the fun is, really. Next, don't change your prescription until your non-dominant eye has caught up to your current prescription. We have a dominant eye and a non-dominant eye, so your dominant eye is more likely to adapt quicker, and then your non-dominant eye takes a little while to catch up to the changes. It adjusts more slowly. So don't race ahead just based on what your dominant eye can do. Make sure you give your non-dominant eye time to also participate fully in the process, because if you race too far ahead, the blur for your non-dominant eye is going to increase, not decrease, and eventually it's going to become lazy and just let the dominant eye pick up all the slack. So that's not really going to help your non-dominant eye improve. And then there's the obvious ones about screen time. If you're on a screen, like a computer screen, or perhaps reading, if you're doing something close up, make sure every 20 minutes you take a break and go look at something in the distance for at least a minute. But really, as long as you can afford, like, the longer the better. I think I've heard another person on one of the EndMyopia student videos say that for improvement, 1 hour max of screen time a day. I think this means on your phone, because a lot of people can't escape their computer. I don't know if it's possible to improve with more screen time or more phone screen time than that, because like obviously phones are a lot closer than a computer, but it has been my experience too, like any more than an hour a day of phone use and my ciliary spasm just hangs around and I make no progress. You're only going to make progress if you can get out of ciliary spasm. Yes, you'll get ciliary spasm from time to time, but you have to give your eyes plenty of opportunity to release that regularly. And if you're on your phone for much more than an hour a day, and really even an hour a day is a fair bit, you're going to be inducing ciliary spasm regularly, and that is going to stop you from progressing. Until the beginning of the year, when I quit my smartphone, I actually had made no progress since starting early September. So that's 4 months of nothing, but then drastically reducing my screen time and starting to see the results. So I think it's true that more than an hour of screen time a day, and you probably won't see much in the way of movement unless you're doing a lot to combat that. And legit, like, seriously consider ditching your smartphone. I've got tons of videos about my ditching of my smartphone now, so like how to do it, why to do it. It might seem really extreme and really scary, but if you actually care about your eyes, it's really worth it. Anyway, I'll leave these hot tips here and hopefully they help someone. I know that I learned a lot from watching Jake's videos and from watching videos that other students had made where they shared what they had learned from Jake's videos, because seriously, Jake has just got so much content on this topic that you really have to spend a lot of time to get a handle around all of it. Like, I'm nowhere near all of it. I'm still learning so much. So other students sharing like the things that stood out for them from what they'd managed to get through really helped me out. So thank you to all you other EndMyopia peeps who share your journey and your discoveries on your YouTube channels. Please like this video if you liked this video. It really helps me out. And also, do consider subscribing if you are interested in weekly content from me. And I'll see you next week. Bye!